What's up, YouTube? Today I will be giving you my 6 Samurai deck profile. I ran at locals and topped with. I know topping at locals isn't a big deal, but I pretty much threw this deck together last minute. It's missing some stuff, but excuse me, it's got the majority of stuff. So I figured I'd show you the deck. Maybe you'll find something you like. It's almost standard, but I think it's got a few good tech choices. Before I start, I just want to let you guys know that I've got lots of new deck profiles coming up. I got like heroes and, well, I mean heroes is what I've got built, and then I've got like Gusto, lots of new deck profiles that I want to do, along with pack openings, binder updates, etc. So hopefully you guys will subscribe, rate, comment, enjoy that in general. So, guess we'll start on the deck profile now. Start with the monsters. We have one Inishi. He is probably best as a one-of. You just summon him, or usually you'll special summon him. Not by his effect, but by something else's effect, because this deck just swarms the field like crazy. And then when you control another 6 Sam, you can just bounce cards during either player's turn, so that's pretty much his main purpose. And also, when you control 2 other 6 Sams, he goes up to 22, so he can become a beat stick too. Next we've got triple Kizan, which is pretty standard. I finally got the third, which is why I ended up running the deck. Obviously you need 3 Kizan just because he really fuels the deck. We've got one Grandmaster because I feel you only need one, and the only time you really use them is when you're going off with Gateway, just so you have another 2100 beater. And 2, I feel just with my luck in drawing, would get really cloggy, so he's more of a one-of for me. Next we've got 3 Kagemusha. Obvious, he's the tuner, and he seems like an obvious choice to me. Next we've got double Kageki. I've never had problems with double Kageki, just because I run several rank 3 exceeds. So if I ever draw 2, I just go into a rank 3. He's also an asceticism target when you control another 6 Sam for Inishi. Forgot to mention that. Next we've got one Zanji, just for getting over bigger cards. He essentially lets you run into anything when you control another 6 Sam, and both will die, or the other one will die. It just depends. He's also good for targeting Spirit Reapers. Elder now. He's got the Cyber Dragon effect. He's also a asceticism target for I'm blanking, Kagemusha, and they can make Naturi Beast really easy. That actually helped me several times at locals. One hand, just my I think he's a one-of. You just tribute her. She's a one-of. You just tribute it and, pop card, or it just becomes 1600. Next we got hand traps. That's the last of the monsters. We got the 1maxC double Valor. I don't have a side deck made because the one I threw together for locals was very quickly made since I decided to enter last minute. But I would definitely side a third Valor. If you had more maxCs, I'd run them too. But yeah, so double Valor and the 1maxC. We'll do spells next, and we've got double Dojo. I feel you only need 2, and I sided these out almost every game. I like it game 1, or if you're going first, just because it can help you explode, but beyond that, it doesn't really do anything. We've got one Gateway. I'm actually looking for a super one, so if you got one and you want to trade it, I'm looking for it, but I think everybody knows what Gateway does. Totally broken, even at 1. Next, we've got triple Asceticism. I feel that's obvious, and at this point, if you don't know what it does, well, I can't really help you. We got the one Rhoda, double Smoke Signal just for searching. That seems obvious too. Most of these spells are pretty obvious. Double United, I know that sounds ridiculous, and I should be running a third, but I just didn't have one, so if you've got one and you want to give me it, I'm actually planning on running Sam's like long term in the future. So I'm looking for a third. This is your draw power. Every time you summon a 6 Sam, you put a counter. You can remove however many counters you've got to draw up to 2 cards. So it's essentially Pot of Greed in this deck. Basic removal, we've got Mystical Space Typhoon and Heavy Storm. I only run one just because Xian and Naturi Beast negate everything I'd have a problem with. Well, mostly Xian. And then, so that's, and then Heavy Storm, just because it's good, like first turn if you want to go off and you're worried about your opponent. Next we've got Staples and one-ofs, Book of Moon, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole. I feel like those don't need explanation. Traps, we have Double-Edged Sword, just one. I would side the other. Good card in my opinion though. 2 Magatamas. This is essentially like your Solemn Judgment. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting all frustrated about this. Essentially a Solemn Judgment. It negates anything that would destroy a card, as long as you control 6 SAM. It's also a counter trap, which makes it hard for your opponent to chain to. So, I really like that card. Because of that, I only run the Solemn Warnings. I don't run the Judgment. I don't like giving up, which is likely 4,000 life points. So, I just opt to run only the Warnings, no Judgment. And I guess that works out. Finally, for monster removal, I run 1 Deep Prison, 1 Mirror Force. Probably should be 2 Deep Prisons, but I just don't have a second one right now. I sold it. So I run the 1 Mirror Force. But yeah, that's it. 40 cards. I think it's like 18 monsters, 17 spells, and 8 traps, 7 traps. I don't know. You can go back and count it if you want. I know it's 40 though. Next, I guess we'll do extra deck. Like I said, I don't have a side deck, and my extra deck isn't exactly complete, so you guys might be frustrated, but you guys understand where, I don't have a Barkion, and I'm not going to go out and get one now if it's getting reprinted, so maybe I'll wait, but I feel like Xian did plenty of work in place of Barkion, because odds are your opponent isn't activating more than 1 trap a turn. So I run the 1 Xian, because that one Naturia Beast, because you only need 1. And the Cataster. So I run 3 level 5s just because you can go into it so easily with all the level 3 monsters, and then your tuner is a level 2. So it makes sense. Next for level 6 we've got just Brio, because like I said, I don't have Barkion. So Brio actually won me games during the tournament. I'll actually go over tournament after I'm done with this deck list. Next, for level 7s, we've got, excuse me, Driven Daredevil. I haven't actually been feeling well. Driven Daredevil, in my opinion, he's just like, if your opponent's going to use something big against you, like dragons, I don't know, then you'll want to go into Daredevil, in my opinion, just because if he is going to be destroyed, you can just, I don't actually know his effect. Hold on. I didn't actually end up using him in tournament, just because I actually got him after. And he seemed like a reasonable card. I can't remember his effect, though. Anyway, that's his effect, and I know he's good for big monsters. Black Rose, obvious, just for nuking the field. So, yeah, I guess they're pretty good level 7s. I took out Landois for Driven Daredevil just because I never went into Landois, and I felt Daredevil would be more helpful during the game. Level 8, we've got Stardust, only Stardust, just because I don't have Scrap Dragon and I don't actually have room for it, because I run so many Exceeds. Next, we've got Mistworm, level 9, pretty obvious. I went into it once, I think, during locals. It was 5 rounds, so that's, whatever. Next, for rank 3, we've got, like I said, we've got a lot of level 3s, plus with the Kageki, he can end up dead. We've got MX Saber Invoker. He special summons Kizans like out the butt, or up the butt, not up the butt. That doesn't sound right. But he just gets your Kizans out. I didn't have him during tournament, but now that I do have him, I'm running him. After tournament, a lot of people started trying to trade me their 6 SAM stuff. Just because it seems like whenever I win or do well at a tournament, I end up using that deck a lot. I don't know, but I definitely want it. He's a good card, so I run him. Leviair seems pretty obvious. And then I opted to run Acid Golem over Leviathan Dragon just because he's bigger immediately. And if this deck doesn't win in the first 5 turns, it's not going to matter. So Acid Golem really won't nuke your life points that much. And I think the one time I did go into him was someone had Gravity Bind and Skill Drain. It was like a Final Countdown deck. And so, I mean, if skill drain's on board, so if you're running someone who's using skill drain, a lot of your cards will end up dead, but you can still go into rank 3, so Acid Golem's still good there. Next, we've got rank 4. We went into Blade Armor Ninja, Utopia, and C39 Utopia. I went into Blade Armor Ninja a ton. He's really good in this deck. I know there's a new like heroic card coming out called like Excalibur or something. Right now, though, in the current meta, Blade Armor Ninja is great. I love using him, so definitely a 1 of, maybe a 2 if I find room. Next, we've got Utopia. I feel like that's pretty obvious. And then, I never went into this, but I feel like the one time I will need it, I want to have it, so I do run the 1 C39 Utopia Ray. And then the last card I run is the Chimera Tech, just because I would obviously side like 2 Cyber Dragons. I hate machine decks, so I always side heavily for them. That's it for the entire deck. I guess now we'll go over locals, where I went 4-1 with the 6 Sam deck. Round 1, I played like an anti-meta stun, so I didn't even really have my deck together. I had actually, right before the tournament, or right before our duel even started, I bought this Naturia Beast and threw the extra deck together. Luckily, they're pretty lenient at locals, so they were okay with that. So yeah, stun, anti-meta. I 2-0'd him. It was a pretty quick game. He couldn't get his Falso Dynas. And like game 2, he got his Falso Dynas, and I had Magatama's face down, so I just blew it up anyway. Round 2, I played Final Countdown. That one went into turns. We were actually in game 4 because in game 3 he used a self-destruct button. Game 1 I won with Naturia Beast, just because he couldn't do anything, he was locked down. Game 2 he got 20 turns, just because I couldn't do anything afterwards. And game 4 I ended up winning just because I did more damage, because he can't do any damage. He made a lot of misplays though, and I knew he hadn't played the deck a lot, so I guess I was able to capitalize on it. I ended up siding really poorly for that game just because my side deck was pretty bad. Like I said, game 3 I played Dark Worlds. Link to his channel will be in the description below. I think that was his only loss for the day. I think it was just game 1 he like trolled all over me. I couldn't do anything. I had like shitty hand. He had the nuts. I think they call it the nuts. But anyway, game 2, he had to Foolish Burial his Grapha. I knew his hand sucked then, so I immediately DD Corrode his Grapha, and then that was just pretty much, I went off with Gateway. Game 3, I don't know, I just know I ended up winning and going off with Gateway and Dojo and tons of things. So I won game 3, and so I was 3-0 at that point. Next game, I played Evils, and game 1 he won, even though I had first turn. I just drew like double Elder, and you don't even want Elder first turn. Elder's more of a second turn if you're gonna draw it. So I really couldn't do anything, and then he just went into Lagia, and I couldn't do anything. Game 2, I think I just won pretty quickly, and then game 3, it was like I was at like 4,800 and he was at like 400. I think I lost Xian at that point, and we were both in top deck mode. He had gotten rid of my whole field with like a Dark Hole or something. And then I was like setting Kagekis and stuff. It was just really bad. But he didn't have board dominance either. I just didn't have anything else to do. And I wouldn't say it was misplaying. It was just we were both like really going at it. And then he just drew better than me. He got an Evo Force on his Najasho, then went into Lagia. 24 right there, and then I tried to Dark Hole it. He obviously negated, and then just finished game right there. So it was like he had like 400 life points left, and he had just taken me down. He just outdrew me there. Game 4. At this point, everybody in the tournament is 3-1 except for this Ninja player who is 4-0. I of course have to play the Ninja player. Game 1, he wins, and then I come back games 2 and 3 and win. So everybody in the tournament ends up finishing 4-1. We all get like $15. I didn't really pull anything. The Dark World player that I had faced during round 3, pulled some nice stuff, so I traded him for it. Overall, it was a good game, good tournament. I'm not sure if I'm going to run Sam's in the future. Oh, I will be running them probably if I go to Nationals, which is in Columbus this year. I'll probably talk more about Nationals later. But I also have a hero deck, like I mentioned before, so guys, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe below if you want to see more deck profiles, pack openings. I'm going to buy some packs right now, probably. And like I have got a binder update. I think I've got like 2 binders now. I've been collecting a lot of cards, so yeah, guys, rate, comment, subscribe. Show me some love. Thanks.